welcome to the Reservoir Hill Association General Membership Meeting. It's February 13th, 2024. It's a little after 7 o'clock p.m. Welcome, neighbors. Today, we're going to do really brief board reports from whomever has items to share. We'll follow that up with a really brief discussion on our progress with the Neighborhood Design Center and where we are in those steps. We'd like to get some feedback about the formation of our steering committee for that process and just share what we've learned so far about that. And then, as always, we're going to be leaving the end for any announcements or anything that we would like to share. So with that, I'm going to actually stop sharing so that we can be face-to-face. And I'm just going to give my board report. So this past month, I feel like it's been a really important moment of synthesis around a lot of work that we've been doing around Amtrak organizing. So a lot of my time has been spent organizing our documentation about our experiences with Amtrak, talking that through and really understanding where we are with that issue. That's as much as I can share at this moment, but I think that we are actually having some momentum around understanding what the possibilities are with making sure that everyone is safe within our community, with how the project is progressing. In addition to that, the board has shifted their meeting date. So if you probably know this, but anyone is welcome to join a board meeting as long as we're not talking about anything confidential. They're open, and we have shifted our dates to the last Sunday of the month. That's just more convenient for us. We realized after a year or two that Tuesday nights are really tough for us as a group. So we decided to shift them to Sunday afternoons. And that's when we're meeting. So I just wanted to let everyone know in case you saw that change on the calendar, you're like, what's going on? When and where is the board meeting? That's how that shift has happened. And during that meeting, we went over quite a few points, which I'm sure the board will cover. But one thing that we want to flag for everyone is that we are less than 4 months out from our really big event, the Garden and Home Tour. And so we are really pushing and hoping to get a larger and stronger Garden and Home Tour committee. So if you joined the event last year and you really enjoyed it and you would love to contribute to the success of the event this year, or if you would like to have your home on the tour, I think now is the time for sure to jump in and kind of raise your hand. I'm sure Janae will go into way more detail about that. The other item that I wanted to share with you all, we'll talk about later, which is about the neighborhood, work with the Neighborhood Design Center, but we spent some time talking about what it means to create a steering committee for that. So just like really briefly, because I know we'll be talking about it in more detail later on, about, oh my God, it was last year's goal, actually 2 years ago, when West North Avenue Development Authority really started taking off. We realized that after the expiration of our urban renewal plan that was established in 1975, that we no longer had a vision plan for our neighborhood. So what that means is the city, when it's making decisions about development, like Druid Park Lake Drive or building our school or making changes to North Avenue, would look at everyone else's vision plan, but not ours, except for there was a vision plan created in conjunction with the development of Dorothy I. Height. So that was a huge gap because when developers were choosing to develop in the neighborhood, we don't have a clear message as to how we want our neighborhood to be developed. What do we hope it will look like over the next decade or more? And so that leaves us at a really great disadvantage, especially with working with city, state entities. So we kind of put our heads together as a board and said that this was a really important goal of ours. It took a long time, but we were able to establish a relationship with Neighborhood Design Center, which is a nonprofit that works with neighborhoods to do an assortment of things. But one of the things that they have successfully done for many communities is gotten a city approved neighborhood vision plan. And so that's what we're looking to do. And part of that, in order to successfully do that, you actually have to, which we're learning along the way. So literally sharing what we're learning. You have to build a steering committee, and that steering committee needs to be made up of not only people that can help you vision for your community, but also can help you execute the plan. So really, it's a moment where you're developing partnerships for long-term growth. So I'm just honestly so proud of us that we were able to accomplish this. It was a really long and undertaking. It was just like a really long process to be able to get to this place. And over the next year and a half, Neighborhood Design Center, along with our partners, will be working to create charrettes in our community to really vision around what we want our neighborhood to look like over time. And there has been a lot of visioning. I've only been in the neighborhood since 2017. People have been here much longer. So I'm sure most of you all have been in a charrette. Like you've either were called to be in a meeting about Druid Park Lake Drive or the school or another visioning. So just so you know, we're including all of that. We compiled all of the vision plans we could get our hands on and put it in a shared drive. So we're not starting completely from scratch. And we are working in partnership. We reached out before reaching out to the Neighborhood Design Center. We reached out to every community-based organization to let them know that was a goal of ours. So it's also I think, an example of what RHA hopes to accomplish, which is to really partner with all bridging gaps of communication across all the organizations that live in the neighborhood or work in the neighborhood. So that was kind of longer than I anticipated. And if you have any questions about that or anything I said, you could honestly just unmute at any time. We're a small group, but if not, we can have the longer discussion about what that looks like towards the end of the call. And with that, I will pass it on to Jerika.
Good evening, everyone. And I don't have anything.
Well, Jerika, I'm being nosy. I'm going to put you on the spot. I'm sorry. I've noticed there's a lot of construction because I know that you volunteer and do a lot of work with St. Francis. And Lily is also on the call. So maybe you combine what's going on at St. Francis? There's a lot of construction.
Well, I think it's this, phase 2 or 3, they building another, because inside they still had more work to do, I think, on the 3rd floor. So, and I know they have raised money for that. We've had several fundraisers but they starting, I want to say it's this, phase 2 of the project, which is, I know they need to do the inside of in the old building. So I think that's what he's doing, I think.
Is it gonna, oh, sorry, I see Lily unmuted.
Yeah, I was just gonna add on to that by saying it's sort of phase 2 and 3 based on what was initially envisioned, but it's going to be the final phase. So no more phases. So as outwardly facing, I think what everyone's probably noticed is the expansion being built, which is going to be on the Whitelock side. So we're building out a little bit more toward the sidewalk. So if you can kind of envision where the white gate used to be for our little courtyard, the entrance is going to be moved up to that point. And that's going to provide more storage, more offices, but most importantly, classrooms, and most importantly of all, an auditorium / multi-purpose space, which the vision for that is to be able to hold not just our events for the community, but to also lend that space out for kind of whatever the community needs or desires are. So that's the long-term goal. Internally, we're also, as Sharika mentioned, we're also renovating the historic side of St. Francis, but that's, you know, kind of behind the scenes. We certainly appreciate everyone's consideration and kind of grace, as obviously construction is kind of noisy and disruptive. So, but hopefully in the long term, the benefits to the entire community are kind of outweigh those momentary disruptions. The initial projection was a 6-month build, but with, you know, materials and some permitting issues with the city, it's a little bit longer than that, but I will certainly do my best to keep everyone here updated on that, just to be the most as considerate as possible. So yeah, but please let me know if you have any other questions, and if I don't know them off the top of my head, I'm happy to find out the answers.
You did a great job.
Yeah,
Thank
you did it. Thankfully.
Thank you.
It would be awesome, actually, maybe next month or in one of the coming months, if you all have like a presentation on what it will end up looking like, or how it will, you know, expand programming or whatever. I'm sure people would love to know in the membership. So that would be really cool.
Yeah, we'd be happy to do that. Yeah, that we will. Yeah, I can definitely get in touch with you about that. We do have some renderings and stuff that should hopefully be a little bit exciting to share.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. And thank
Also,
you.
I don't know if anybody's been down Lenox Street to see the development of the old Madison North. I see they now did a cut-in street. They now starting to put actual streets in. I see an interest coming from North Avenue, hitting north, and then making this quick right and going towards Park. So they now at least starting to put, you know, that type of development in. So they moving right. I mean, it's like they got all the kinks ironed out. So I see a lot of fast moving now. So
awesome. And that's really good news. Okay. Sorry, I was looking when you said, oh, they're working on Madison Park North. I was like, oh yeah, we probably want to mention the progress with 2001 Brookfield, but I'll leave that to Arlen to talk about. I don't need to talk about that now. If you don't mind adding that to your your items. Okay, cool. And I'll pass it to Chet, if you have anything.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to share my screen because I actually have a good amount to, if you can enable host sharing, please. I have a good amount to report. Oop.
Did that work?
There we go. Yeah, it's starting. Okay. So hopefully you all can see this. If you can't, let me know quickly. But I have been working with the Quicken software to make sure that we get everything, all of our income and expenses categorized and put into the system. I think I've basically got that at this point. What you're seeing right now is from January 1st of 2023 up through today. The reason I did that is because some of the garden and home tour reimbursement expenses are actually under this calendar year and not 2023, but this is essentially where we stand as of fiscal year 2023. We had total income of $13,791.69, which included garden and home tour income, green committee income, our dues income. Can you see my pointer? Okay. So the dues income, other income, which is basically uncategorized income. I'm not sure. I have to figure out what that one was. That's one specific transaction that was deposited in the bank account. So everything is categorized basically by the events and other things. And we have event expenses here. which are generally offset by the income. Charges for running the organization, including our post office box annual fee. We have a Prime Business membership to Amazon, which helps with shipping and stuff, which we'll continue that if it continues to be beneficial financially. Tech fees are our website fees, hosting fees, Zoom, et cetera, et cetera. Service fees are generally the fees that are being charged to us by PayPal and Cash App and all of the financial payment structure things. And electronics and software is the cost of Quicken for a year. So we had total expenses as of January 1st of last year to today of $6,925.75 for a net total of positive $68,65.94. And then I'm also going to share the all-time, this is since the bank account was established for our organization, which was around April of 2022. This is basically our entire income and expenses for the time since we've had the bank account. So as you'll see, our total income also broken up by category is $16,241. Our total expenses are $77,672.39, all categorized, and the grand total, so our grand total $85,68.64 is what we have in the bank currently, and that matches our bank account balance. So everything, all the debits and credits are adding up properly, which makes me happy. So if anybody has specific questions about either this year all-time report or year report, let me know. If you have a question right now, I'm happy to try to answer it. If not, I will turn it back.
So Chet, would you say that our largest expense is basically the garden and home tour, or?
So far, yes, the expenses for the garden and home tour are the largest. And we had green committee expenses, which I think are going to increase because the total grant you'll see here was, I can't remember who that was from, but 252852 was the grant that was given to us. Yeah, so those are our main expenses. Fees and our general running fees of running the organization are around $670 over the total time period.
Great. Okay, thank you. And awesome, like it's incredible to see how much our events brought in.
Yes.
I mean, definitely the cost of running them, it seems like they nearly double the cost, or they cover the cost and bring in the same amount in income. So
Yes.
it's helpful to see that outlined clearly.
Yep, and this I also want to point out that the donation portion under here was basically sponsorships that we had from businesses like the Madison Park North and the developer of 2201, the Brookfield property,
Yes.
the Carlton building. Name escapes me.
Yes.
So yeah, but even
Blank
without
slate.
that, we were able to cover the expenses with ticket sales as well. So
Awesome. Any other questions about our?
Ted, are you for dues, are you right in a position, or are you currently ready to start accepting? I know we probably do it at any time, but I didn't know there's a certain time you want to start collecting dues for the organization.
you can start sending dues anytime. You can, I believe should be ready on the website for PayPal at least. You can also drop off a check or email me directly at treasurer@reservoirhillassociation.org if you want to arrange cash payment or like drop off or something like that. Checks, non-cash is preferred generally. So there's a paper trail. But
Okay.
yeah, we can accept payment anytime. Yeah.
Okay.
And
the dues
there's
run
checks are free
January.
essentially. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just making it clear to everyone that the membership dues are January to December is our year.
Mhm.
And that's our membership year. Our fiscal year runs with the calendar year.
Yeah. And I believe at well, at least one person has set up recurring dues payment,
Oh.
which should come through through PayPal automatically. You can set up recurring dues payment through the website as well, if you'd like.
So ultimately, we're in a really healthy financial position because we really wanted
Yes.
our operating costs and our like general just to stay afloat. So like the Zoom, the website, those things until very recently, we were really paying as board members for those things out of pocket. So one of the major goals was to stop doing that. Mainly because we wanted to make sure that anyone could join the board and not feel financially obligated to keep the organization afloat. So we wanted to make sure that this is an organization that's equitable, that, you know, anyone could be a board member, could lead the organization, not feel like they had to spend money to do so, other than, you know, the regular annual dues that everyone pays. So I'm really, thank you, Chet, for doing this. Like, was hours and hours of work
It
to,
was, yeah.
yeah, to be able to do this. And now, fingers crossed, when we go into the garden home tour, as we're collecting donations, we're putting this in the system. We
Mhm.
know we're able to like really well track tax deductible donations so that we can get people, you know, because we're a nonprofit, we can give them those donation letters so they can, when they're filing their taxes, it can be acknowledged as such. So it's just definitely a step in the right direction that we've been trying to move over the last 2 years or 3 years, honestly, to get the
Yes.
organization to be in a good place. So thanks, Chet. Really exciting news.
Yeah, this is exciting for me too, that this is that things are finally in, because this was going back over 2 years of transactions, essentially, almost 2 years of transactions. But
Awesome.
and hopefully we can get this up on the website, either as a PDF or something, and also some graphical representation of things as well. So,
Yeah. And you know, just to shout out again, we have this like technically there is a finance committee and there's also like a fundraising committee, but I think we needed to get to here first. Like we needed to get to this place to be able to like really think through what that committee would do. But if you're looking at this and you're like, oh, well, we could do so much more, or what if we, you know, approach these types of strategies? We would love to hear from you. Because again, as a board, we're kind of all learning how to do this. So if you have things that you think we should try out or experiment with, you know, in a healthy, like not experimental, I mean, we can't like turn this all into Bitcoin or anything, but you know, different fundraising strategies that we could explore. We'd love to hear from you and joining the finance committee or fundraising committee. Thanks, Chat.
yep.
Okay, so I will pass it on to Lisa.
I don't have anything, but I'm just kind of trying to settle into my job, and I'm sort of trying to get up to speed. So I'm coming along with help from Keandra and Mr. Rolando. So I'm getting there. There's still some kinks to work out, but you know, it's going. So, but I don't have anything to contribute
Okay,
today
well,
in
I'll
that
say the
regard.
things that you've done. You've gotten into your email, you've joined the Slack account, you've started collecting mail. We're getting you set up for the PO box. So Lisa's been doing that kind of administrative stuff to get settled into the organization. It's a lot for the secretary. There's a lot of like steps to get situated. And Lisa and Malta, I think we have to get together in this month sometime to like connect over the issues that we were having with figuring out the Airtable and how we're going to record attendance in the Airtable and syncing, because Melda previously had created this amazing database of all our memberships. However, we were trying to move that over into an Airtable account. So I think as we're saying this out loud, we probably just all need to sit in a like 30-minute meeting and be like, okay, this is what we need to do to get the system together. So, okay, thank you,
Thank-
Lisa.
Thank you.
Okay, so I am a little, okay, so where are we? Oh, Brandy.
Good evening, everyone. So nice to see you. I'm sorry, I don't really have any updates tonight. The year's gotten off to a bit of a slow start. So happy to answer any questions if anybody has them on the call. Always available by email, historic@reservoirhillassociation.org. And sorry, no updates tonight, but great to see you.
Good to see you. I don't know about everyone else, but this January really kicked my butt. Like, I don't know what happened this January, but I'm glad it's over. And I'm hoping that February is a little bit more productive for the organization and me. Okay, so let's see who's next. I don't have my presentation as my cheat sheet. Janae.
Oh,
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead, Rolando.
I'll go next. Just wanted to inform you that the issue that was brought to me in reference to officers being parked at Lady Baltimore Park, I brought it to the attention of the sergeant, and he immediately sent an email out. His response was to please take the vehicle patrol number, if there's none, and the if it's an unmarked car, just take the license plate. So just pass the information to me and I will pass it on to him. I spoke to him today and unfortunately he was off. He told me he will try and get in touch with one of his officers if they was on, but apparently they wasn't on, so I did not hear from them. So I will touch base with him. His schedule have changed, so I just have to remember to give him a call on weekends since he's now working weekends. So that's basically it, and try to set up something with him in the future. So I will let you all know. Thank you.
Thank you. Safety Committee Chair Rolando Maxwell. Brandy, you have your hand up.
Yes, I just wanted to acknowledge Rolando. Thank you so much. You really quickly took my request and provided a solution, and I'm so grateful. And Rolando, what's the best way to communicate that information to you? Is it an email, or do you prefer a text or a call? I have a plate number for you, and some time, day, notes. What's the best way to communicate that to you?
Oh, you're muted.
You're mute, Ronnie.
I will say please send it both ways, text and email.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we are slowly getting off the ground, very, very slowly, our Slack channel, which in theory, I don't know if this will ever work, but in theory, the community could Slack things like this to you, or in the Slack, the Safety and Security Committee Slack, technically. So, for folks that don't know, we were allowed to get a professional professional Slack account. Everyone in the community could join it. And there are private channels and there are public channels. So the private channels would be like for committees to communicate with each other. Say if, you just wanted to share, hey, I noticed XYZ was going on, Rolando, like in committee chat, but then there could be a more public chat like, hey, be on the lookout, XYZ is happening. So if you're interested in joining the Slack account, we would just need to have your email address. If you have Slack, you could use the same email that you use, and basically it'd just be another icon. And it operates, what's nice about it is it operates like a group chat, but it saves conversations a little differently, so they're easier to navigate. And then you don't have to worry about your cell phone blowing up all day. You know, with people texting you, you can change the notifications to get them all at the end of the day, or you could get them as they come in. So we'll see if it works as a way to communicate as a community. I know we have a bunch of group threads that we use different things, but it might be a way to communicate of the, timely things. Another thing that I wanted to kind of piggyback off of Rolando within the safety and security realm is that there was an email shared about someone had identified potential drug activity in the park at German Park. And I don't know if you're able to share anything about that, Rolando, right now, or you want to share anything about that?
This time I have nothing to share, and as I've been told before by Officer Lee, certain things should just remain confidential at this time. Okay. Actually, since you brought me back on, I forgot to let you all know that Miss Ward and myself went to a meeting on Saturday with DHCD, and hopefully we can get Mrs. Alice Kennedy to come through and have a walkthrough. Also on the main channels, there was a conversation of work and activities being done without permit, and a particular picture that was sent was of a balcony that was not properly installed. Contacted the individual that sent that, and he was supposed to send me the address and the complaint number, but he did not do that. And we were supposed to meet with each other, but Sunday was football, Super Bowl. So we haven't meet up with that. So hopefully we can get something done. So another complaint that's been going on is that there are 3 apartment buildings in Lakeview that been converted now into a sober type of living apartment complex. So I've been bombarded by several individuals brought to my attention that there's an influx of individuals that's just transom through that area. And it's a big volume since it's 3 apartment buildings.
Okay, thank you, Rolando. It sounds like there's multiple things happening at once in that situation. Just as a reminder, if it's something that seems like criminal activity, you should call the police. If it's something to do with like housing issues, report it, not housing, if it's a housing issue within your home, but also if you observe illegal work happening, that's a 311. And you should definitely take photographs and submit that 311. And if you can, please take that 311 number that you get and put it in our 311 database. That allows us to then circle back to Councilman Torrance. And I can share that with you all really quickly if you've forgotten what that looks like. Sorry, y'all. Oh, I have to share my screen first for you to be able to see what I'm doing. Okay. So if you go to our website, you can go to committees. And honestly, It's faster if you just do that. And you go to the Planning and Development Committee, there's a 311 database that will list all of our 311 complaints if people are submitting them. Obviously, right now, not a lot of people are. And here is, oh, where's the form though? Let's see if it's on the, oh, there we go. Okay, the form isn't there though. I guess we have to troubleshoot. Maybe people can't submit because the form isn't even there, but there should be a form here that you can fill out and just put your service request number when you submitted it and what the description of the issue, because what we can do is circle back with Councilman Torrance and with DHCD to kind of make something more urgent. They've given us permission to email them specifically around that issue. So I will figure out why this isn't showing up. I'm not sure why. I'm pretty sure it was up there recently, so maybe there's just a technical difficulty there, but we'll get it up so you guys can fill that out. But the idea is that we have an understanding of who's complaining about what so that we can escalate that to other agencies with the help of the councilman. Yes, Rolando.
Yeah, just wanted to answer Lily question. Basically, each patrol vehicle, marked patrol vehicle should have a patrol number. So if you're able to get that patrol number, it's great. If there's an unmarked car, then you will have to get the license plate number and the vehicle type. It will make it a lot easier.
I
You
was
can
just,
get
it was in response to like a particular issue. Like, is there something that we should be on the lookout to be reporting?
Okay, basically what happened is the officers been parking the vehicle on the lawn of the park instead of parking in the street. So some of our neighbors had asked them to move the vehicle off. Some obliged, some just ignore the request. So that was the complaint that was given to me, and I passed it on to the supervisor to let them know not to park the vehicle on the lawn, park it in the street.
I see. Thank you so much for giving me that context.
Thank you. You're welcome.
And thank you, Rolando. And it would be awesome if Alice Kennedy could present at a meeting. So I really hope that, Lisa, I really hope that we could make that happen just to at least, and just so you know, Alice Kennedy is a director of the Department of Housing and Community Development, which oversees a lot of things, but in particular, where we have bones to pick is the way that they oversee homes that are purchased and then developed and okayed for purchase later. So there's a problem within our neighborhood about the oversight of people getting proper permits to do work. And it seems like for the small folks like us, we go through a lot to get permits and do the work properly. And there's a lot of oversight. But for developers that have multiple properties, they are able to move through the system a lot differently. And we have a lot of concerns about that, not only because it's unfair, but also because it's actually caused dangerous living situations for a lot of people. So again, I feel like I have to say this every time we bring this up, because I think it can sound really offensive the way that we're talking about, like, oh, we have to watch like how people are developing homes. The way that people have developed homes has led to house fires. It has led to people losing their ability to live in their homes. And it's also created dangerous living environments, structural living environments. Like, it's an actual threat to health and safety for many people that live in the neighborhood. So I just want to make that really clear. It's not about control, it's about safety. So Lisa, your hand.
Hi, I just wanted to chime in on the 311 calls. And as you mentioned that, people may not want to do that, but as you also pointed out, it's for legitimate health and safety reasons, because we're all connected. And so a dangerous situation in one person's home is going to be a dangerous situation in another person's home. And I also wanted to, since we're talking about the 311 calls, I just want to tell you that, and thank my neighbors in this neighborhood, because my neighbors, before I even got here, when there was unpermitted work going on in the property, they were kind enough and generous enough to document what was going on. And this is like a lifesaver of epic proportions for my family, because people will consistently deny that things happened. And here we have documented evidence because you all took photographs. And that's a game changer for us. I mean, it's evidence that was taken, at the time. And so it really is critical for, I know everybody might not feel that way, but it is really critical, because it affects us all. And we actually did have a fire in our property, and that could have been a dangerous situation for everybody. And so documenting these things is critical, because you can get those later. You can get, the proof that this happened later. You know where to get it. It's everything. So I really thank the community for doing that, and just wanted to reiterate that, it is really helpful, and in getting our community where we want to go and where we need to be. So thank you all for that.
Thank you, Lisa. And, just, when you're feeling a little anxious or like, I can't believe I'm going to be taking a picture of someone doing something, it just feels like you're a peeping Tom or something, or you're spying on people. Just remember that a lot of people have invested a lot of their lives into their homes. Like, this is not a small investment. And a lot of the people that are coming into the community and don't have the intention to be here for a long time, they're just kind of flipping a home. They're doing that off the basis of everyone's work and sweat equity and their investment over time. So the way the neighborhood looks like today is because there have been decades of investment, and love and contributions from families, intergenerationally, or people that came from another place and they moved here and they said, this is the place I'm going to live. So when someone comes in and they do substandard work in their homes and lead to safety, a really unsafe condition, you can't necessarily see that when you're going home shopping or when you have someone go in and look at the home for you before you make that purchase. So I feel like it's our duty as a good neighbor, as a good future neighbor, to pay attention and do what we can to make sure that no one is spending their hard-earned money, and investing their deep dreams into our neighborhood and leaves really quickly because they just can't live in their homes anymore because it's created an unsafe home environment. Sorry, Melda, you had
No, I was just making a comment about, I'm sorry. Yeah, I know, my computer's acting up. I think I just froze. I think.
Back on. You're back on.
Oh, okay, good, okay. No, I was just, sorry, making a comment about what happened to us with the house next door, when they were touching and touring a roof, and, well, the house burned down, and we're still waiting for repairs to be done. So.
Actually, I had a conversation with Lauren this afternoon in reference to the city not requiring permit for roof. And that was also brought up. Actually, they mentioned in the meeting that roofing was not something that needed a permit. And I think that they need to change that, especially if they torching a roof. Of course, torching a roof require, it's very dangerous, let's put it that way. So that's something that I guess we'll have to bring up to the councilman so they could change that, to see if that they can make that to be a requirement that to pull a permit for roofing. So I'll give you all of Alice Kennedy information so you can invite her to see if she wants to have a town hall meeting and bring all her staff to our neighborhood.
It'd be great to learn about the property, the lots on Druid Park Lake Drive.
Actually, let me say something else. I don't know what I did with a lady called. There was a lady that walked with us from DSC that had to do with equity. She remembered, she said she want to reach out to that lady and Linda next to the house that's vacant. So I don't know if she's on this call, but please be aware that that young lady wants to reach out to you. And if she have her phone number, you can reach out to her, because she was interested to know what's going on.
Yeah, I have her phone number, so I'm happy to connect them if she needs to reach out to her. So we could touch base after the call, Rolando, so I can.
Yeah, okay.
Wonderful. Yes, there was a woman who's been living in the neighborhood for quite some time, I think since the 90s, who unfortunately lives next door to a home that also burnt down. It burned down, and it's causing serious issues, health issues, and all sorts of issues. So it's we're all connected. As Lisa said, we're neighbors, and we're all physically connected. And so we have to be really mindful and maybe operate in a way that feels uncomfortable, because we really do have to protect our living environment as much as we possibly can, and respectfully so. But it's an important tool to utilize 311 and photographs for evidence. Okay, so moving on, I will ask Janae, if you don't mind sharing.
Hi, I don't mind sharing. Good evening, everyone. So just a few things to report out. Our last event was the winter trolley tour with Live Baltimore. So Rolando and I worked a table for that event. We got a lot of interest in Reservoir Hill and a lot of interest in RHA. So the highlights are the pearls that we brought to the table were renderings from MCB. They shared with us some of their renderings, and so we were able to share those at our table. We also had our video of some of the events that we have carried out, and then we also highlighted the garden and home tour. So we got a lot of interest around that, and the trolley did route through Reservoir Hill, so it was a nice connection and tie-in. And so hopefully people, because directly after that, a lot of save the date notifications went out on social media. So hopefully we can ride some of that into increasing our ticket sales. So many thanks to marketing for the timing and the number of posts that went out around that event. So many thanks to Chet. We do have a digital footprint in Eventbrite, and hopefully we can make that go live shortly, so that we can actually start collecting ticket sales. But in the meantime, we do have a lot of opportunity for people to volunteer. Like Keandra was saying, as far as the finance and fundraising, We have opportunities for identifying sponsors for this year's Garden and Home Tour. We also need volunteers for people to actually show their home and their garden or just the garden. So just whatever you would like to showcase with neighbors as well as potential neighbors and others that are interested in seeing some of the beauty that we have behind the gates and doors within the community. We also need volunteers to help the event go smoothly. I wanted to give a big thank you to Devin, who is one of our neighbors, who also shared about the opportunity for service hours for some of our youth. So definitely gonna take advantage of being able to have that mutually beneficial opportunity to bring some of the youth along to see some of the behind the scenes activities. So it is, excuse me, it is 4 months out, but it's going to go really quickly. And, you know, we've heard in the news that there are other events that usually occur annually that are not going to go forward. We want to continue the legacy that was started by neighbors over in Bolton Park, and, you know, continue to make it a festive event that allows people to see the beauty that Reservoir Hill has. So if you have any ideas and have time and on your calendar, please do come to our events committee meeting. That is the Thursday of every month. We have a calendar invite, a standing calendar invite that has gone out. If you need to subscribe to that calendar, just send events at Reservoir Hill Association a note. And we'll probably pick up the cadence around the meetings, but nonetheless, come to our meetings. Let's talk about it. I think it's going to be another fun event, and I look forward to thank you, Chet. I look forward to speaking with everyone. And the dates, June 1st and 2nd. The theme is blooms and bees. The colors are purple and gold. So love to see you out. Turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Janae. And I was shocked. The other day I was online doing who knows what, searching for who knows what, but it came up that the Garden Home Tour was celebrating its 14th year in like 2005. I was like, this has been going on way longer than I realized. So I would be curious to find out what number this one is going to be. Okay, so I will pass it on to Arlen.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I have to concur with you on the first of 2024 being a blur, and well, we get through it. I guess I'm just going to cover some things that are coming up next week. I have a meeting with Eric, who's the transportation head of transportation wing of the West North Avenue Development Authority. I've been pushing or putting out a proposal to redo the Pennsylvania North Avenue intersection. I really see a traffic circle there. So I mean, it may happen, it may not happen. We're just looking for solutions. We also have a meeting Friday on the 20. What's that? Yeah, Friday on the 21st. No. Help me out, Keandra. When is that meeting with Winata, the brunch?
I believe that's correct. I'm going to check my
23rd?
calendar.
The 23rd? Yeah.
I have,
So
you know, my
we meet
brain.
with them regarding Amtrak. The Carlton has a grand opening on the 19th of February at 10 o'clock. That's right there at Brookfield, the apartment complex there. Let's see. There's been some outreach from Shannon Sheed and Zeke Cohen. They want to have some type of input at one of our community meetings. I think that's really important, especially with the, I think, at least what I'm going to be pushing for our committee. The three things I've been talking about, and also Orlando added a fourth tonight. Those four things now are the zoning issues. What can the council president and our council members do to change the zoning ordinances there? Where you just have one trash can and one receptacle per building, not per unit. I'd like to have that changed to per unit. Also, the mandatory posting of permits. I have talked to some people in that Department of Housing, and they said that's going to have to be something that's pushed forth by the community. And I'm willing to take that up through our representatives and see how far that goes. Having this and let's see, how can we put this to make it sting a little bit more? Accessible BMZA meetings. So that's hybrid meetings. They're probably the only department that doesn't have hybrid meetings. And the fourth one, Rolando, I saw you shaking your head wondering what I was talking about. It's the roofers. They need to have a permit. They need to be permitted. So I think if we push those four things with our representatives when they come to us for votes, those are some low-hanging fruit. I mean, it looks like low-hanging fruit to me. If we can get those things done, that would solve so much of the problems that we have to keep readdressing in the neighborhood. Let's see, and still on the table for 2024, we have the lights on Park Avenue, the fire damaged buildings on Brooks Lane, and also on Linden Avenue. The building that's on life support here on what's that, on Madison, what's that, Brookfield? Yeah. I think the owners are kind of like, okay, it's stabilized. I'm not going to worry about it now. It's not going to work. So we'll see what happens. And also with 2001 Park Avenue, some of you may have seen the article that was in the banner. And basically, it's being held up by the city right now. And along with the issues that are going on with the tunneling that will be going on underneath that property. So I think the financing had to be redone. So it's I hate to say it, but it's kind of typical for what goes on as far as permitting and things of that nature. And I just want to thank Teddy Wendell Holmes for getting that aerial footage of the neighborhood, which I did not utilize, but I really appreciate you getting out there and getting that footage. It'll become part of the historic record. So that's about all I have.
Thank you very much, Arlen. And just to explain that WNATA meeting is it's a way of our community communicating about how the West North Avenue organization can help with issues that we're facing in our community. And yes, I just want to confirm that's happening on Friday the 23rd. So looking forward to that. Any questions from Arlen? Because that was a lot of information. Okay, I'm going to pass it to Daryl.
Good evening, everyone. Marketing is kind of up and running. January was a blur for me as well. But all hands are on deck for the garden and home tour. We fancy ourselves doubling the number of people in attendance this year. And so that means that we got to be already out of the gate. So you will see marketing for the garden and home tour. We will have past garden and home tour footage made into reels going across all of our social media channels. You see our hashtag, and you'll see that going across all of the social media channels. We have we're almost finished with a big book. That big book is local publications, it's community centers, recreation centers, libraries, local businesses, radio stations, television stations, any place where we can find a calendar. We're going to put the garden and home tour on said calendar. We're as you see the standing committee flyers, they will cross promote the the garden home tour this month. And you know, we're just putting everything in place in order for, you know, at this junction right here, all of this is supposed to happen. We have all of that down as opposed to last year, and just prettying it up. Other than that, the marketing committee, like every other committee, is looking for a few good humans. If you have an affinity for graphic design, or if you want to learn graphic design, or if you want to teach me graphic design, we would love to have you. If you have a background in marketing or communications, we would love to have you. If you are a warm body that can wiggle your nose, we would like to have you. We will put you to work because we will be doing some paper flyering this year. That's how we're gonna reach the people. Rolando and I stay in excellent shape, but we're gonna reach out to everybody else. Put that Atlanta on you, everybody else, in order to get the word out. So I think that is about it. We're gonna join a couple more social media sites. I think it'll be helpful for us, and all of that we will discuss on Thursday, February the 15th, when Marketing and Communications Committee meets at 7 p.m. See you there. That's all I have. Any questions?
Thank you, Daryl. I just want to share one thing, and that is that you also uploaded some of the Amtrak presentation videos. So if you are not able to make the past Amtrak meetings and you want to know what was said in them, right now we have the January 11th and November 14th meetings up. There's also a November 16th meeting that we'll work on getting up. But certainly if you're on the alignment, you should definitely watch the real estate meeting because it goes over real estate acquisitions and what people in the meeting talked about. So they're broken up into 3 videos and it's labeled that way, but just if you want to know that, it's here under, if you go on to the website and you go to neighbor resources, you can either click on neighbor resources and then just click Amtrak recordings, or you can click that down button and click that link to get you there. But thank you, Daryl. It was quite a hassle because these are over an hour-long meetings, so it was a lot of work to get them on. So I just want to also point out that's something you've been working on quite recently. So thank you. Oh, thank you, Lily, for your comment about the recent presentation. Okay, so I think I didn't miss any of our board members, I hope. Okay. I know that Lauren is not here tonight. I'm not sure if she has any additional updates except for to say that she did schedule all of the dumpster days for the rest of the year. We have 4 dumpster days this year. And I don't know the dates off the top of my head, but I know they'll be added to the calendar. And as usual, I think as far as the locations, we're hoping to hear from the community if there is a part of the community that needs a dumpster. Either you want to do an alley cleanup or clean out drains in your area. That's generally how we do it. We ask people to request the spot, and we will basically make arrangements to make sure that the dumpster is delivered to that location. We had 1 dumpster last month, but it was sort of snowed out. But we're hoping to, I think the next one won't be until April or May, something along that time period. Okay, so that leads us to the end of the meeting. I just wanted to share basically our thinking around our steering committee for the Neighborhood Design Center. And the reason why I wanted to share this with you as we close out our meeting is because if there are any gaps, obviously this is not the final suggestion for our steering committee. We'll basically be sharing this with the Neighborhood Design Center and they'll be giving us feedback. So I don't want you to feel any level of pressure around knowing who we should be including on our steering committee, but I wanted to share our thinking mostly. So basically we sat down as a board and we really thought about what the qualifications or the types of contributions we would like a steering committee member to contribute to this process. So basically we had around 12 different competencies or 12 different attributes we were looking for, which could be found in and around I think generally the steering committee is made up of around 8 people or so. So we know that one of the major issues that we're facing as a community is around transportation. We're seeing a lot of changes to our streets with new developments going up. A lot of these developments don't necessarily have sufficient parking. We also know that there's going to be changes to the flow of the streets with the addition of Madison Park North. And in addition to that, we know that there are going to be bike lanes along Utah and Madison. So we know that there needs to be someone on our steering committee that has that kind of professional understanding of transportation and really thinking forward as to where we want to be, which is to support very vibrant multi modes of getting around the city. So we want people to feel safe walking. We want people to feel safe biking, riding their bicycle or driving. We want all of those things or using public transportation. So we want to create a neighborhood where all of those things are just options that you can pick from to get around. Secondly, we know that we want our neighborhood to be a green neighborhood. So we want it to be conservation and minded and sustainable. So we really want someone to really think of our waterways, our air, to think about energy and how we can really rethink our neighborhood to support all of those things. And for basically it to be a just healthy, vibrant place to live. We obviously have a great head start with so many access to so many parks. We have a farm. We have a beautiful new school that is, set up for a lot of greenery and a lot of planting and different things like that, and sustainable, local plants and things were planted around the school. So we want to continue thinking through how we can encourage new developments to take those things into mind as they move forward. We know that whoever is going to be on this committee will also need to be able to know how to navigate the Baltimore City systems. So how do you get something from an idea to actuality, working through what is a behemoth of agencies that you have to figure out how to let them communicate to get things done. So we want people on our team that has successfully done that and has proof that they have successfully navigated Baltimore City specifically. That we want someone from Dorothy I. Height to be on the committee, probably, to have that school-centered perspective. So maybe if it's not someone from the school, someone that represents the schools or understands the future of the community school idea, the concept of community schools. We would love a university partner. So we thought of Morgan State, Coppin State, Johns Hopkins, MICA, a partner that really can think through how we will have relationships with different universities within the neighborhood. And I think all of these universities have kind of worked in the neighborhood in some capacity, but we would like a partner that really wants to think through this future plan and see it through to the end and think of different ways to use the university resources to get us there. There was a thought that maybe a smaller neighborhood organization, just to lend that perspective. So an organization that operates in the neighborhood, but that is smaller, that is really just thinking about their neck of woods, or maybe we would want not necessarily a board member, but a committee of just the smaller neighborhood organizations that we're not really sure how that would work. That's something that just came up. Neighborhood nonprofits like St. Francis were brought up. Like, we definitely want them to participate and figure out how they would participate. We also wanted to make sure that renters' needs were centered. So maybe we thought a renter advocacy group would be great. As we're thinking through legislation, it's been pointed out to us a lot of struggles that renters face within our neighborhood, specifically about having good habitability in their homes. So making sure that it's a safe and healthy living environment, and how can this vision plan ensure that that's the experience of renters as well as homeowners. And then a nonprofit community development corporation or a CDC. So we are thinking of a lot of different CDCs, but it just seems obvious that we would want a developer to be on the board, but we really want a developer that will be open-minded to thinking of multiple ways of financing development, and that maybe that those ideas would be very community-based, because what we have seen is that when we talk about development, especially around sustainable home ownership, or for people that have low income, or people that need differing income to own properties, we hear a lot about the infeasibility of that. So we want to make sure that we also incorporate people that are thinking about co-ops and different development models. So we're really looking for a CDC that has experience navigating those things in Baltimore City. We want to include historic preservation, so something like CHAP or Baltimore Heritage, someone from that arena in the city. And then we've also heard a lot from our neighbors that it would be a really good idea to revisit the concept of a benefits district. So we were wondering if we should invite someone from the Midtown benefits district to be on the board, because not to go into a long history of that, but when Midtown was developed, we were actually invited to be part of the benefits district. And at that time, the community leadership did not think it was appropriate, because their long-term plan was to develop their own benefits district, a Reservoir Hill benefits district, and that never really took off. So, but there are a lot of good things and a lot of things that people think are not so great about being a part of a benefits district. But some of the advantages are around street cleaning and maintenance and greenway maintenance. But then the costs, can be prohibitive. So just like exploring how to do that for our community, whether we want to approach that. And I think this is a good time to kind of think through and talk through that with someone who has expertise or works in supporting a benefits district. So that was a lot. I'm going to take a breath and ask, does anyone have any questions about that? Or concerns? Or you're like, this isn't a great group of competencies for a steering committee group. Pause. Questions, concerns, thoughts? Anything that was missing?
Hi, it's Janae. I don't know if everyone is familiar with the terminology benefits district. So it might be helpful just to share a little bit more detail about what that looks like.
Okay, I will do my best, and I'm going to rely on people wiser than me to chip in. So what I understand a benefits district is, it's a city and I think state system in which people pay, actually, I think it's only on the city level, where people pay additional property tax, like a percentage of their property tax, to support additional resources in their particular community. So the Midtown benefits district, I think, includes Bolton Hill, Mount Vernon, Madison Park North, and I think a couple other neighborhoods basically come together. They share this pool of money that comes from additional tax payments, and they have services like where the city, or I think maybe a private organization, goes out and will pick up trash in the street and maintain plantings. Like if you are in Mount Vernon, you see all these really beautiful plants. Every so often, you'll see someone coming out and trimming them and taking care of them. And that's a part of that comes out of their benefits district fund. So that's basically what it is. There might be additional things that happen. Did I miss something? Rolando, Arlen, Melda, Jerika, Chet. Okay. I think that's generally what it is, but it might, what could be helpful about getting someone from a benefits district onto the committee is that we could actually understand it a little bit more. A lot of the concerns people have is about people who are on a fixed income, and an increase to their property tax would not be possible. Like it would just be too much of an expense. So it would be helpful to understand how different neighborhoods deal with that issue, because I'm sure they have the same issue in their neighborhood. So the thought was to include someone from the benefits district so that they could guide us through either creating our own or understanding the costs and benefits of doing that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Janae. Yeah. Okay. So if you're feeling shy and you don't want to share anything with us on the call, you could always email us. We can be reached at just contact@reservoirhillassociation.org, or if you just want to, that's the board plus Melda, who is our webmaster, so she'll get that. And then if you just want to email the board, you could just email board@reservoirhillassociation.org, and the board is the officers and all the committee chairs. So if you just, want to reach out, or you think about something later and you just want to share it with us, that's how you contact us. And now I will pause to say if there are any additional announcements that anyone wants to share coming up in the month of February or March.
I just, Keandra, I just put in that, in the chat, the next Amtrak Community Open House, which is Thursday, February 29th, at 6 p.m. To 7:30. Just so and I put a link up, so hopefully it works.
Yeah, and it leads you to an Eventbrite registration. So you could just sign up and the Eventbrite will remind you the day of, and we'll be sure to put that on our calendar as well. Thank you, Lisa. And just as an update from the January 11th meeting, we still have not gotten the answers to our questions from that meeting. If anyone was wondering, we have not. They have told us, I think last week, we need a few more days or a couple more weeks or something like that to thoroughly and completely answer our questions. So just as a quick update to that. But this is another open house and another open house. What I love about them, because you might be like, why should I keep going to these meetings, is you meet other people. It's a great way to network with other community members, to get connected with other community organizations, share grievances, exchange information. So even on that level, if you think it's worth it to go, otherwise, I'm not really sure what new information will be shared, maybe about the design of the event site. I really don't know, but that's on February 29th, 6 to 7:30 p.m. On Bentaloo. Okay. So that's it. We are heading towards 8:30, but we don't need to get there. You guys can have the rest of your evening. Thanks for sticking it out with us. And oh, Rolando.
I just wanted to bring a couple of things up. At the Trilito, West North Avenue Development Authority was there. Mrs. Horn was there, and we had a little conversation. And basically, I mentioned to her that the authority was only setting aside money for developers, but there was nothing being set aside for homeowners. So she brought to my attention that they are planning, or they are trying to work on some type of program for elderly people that's been in the neighborhood, because that was one of the concerns that I brought to her, is that you're doing all of this and it's only the developers being, all this money is being given to developers, and those that's been here, the legacies owners, elderly, have no, they're not reaching out to those individuals. So she said to me that they are planning, and she's heading that part as to trying to formulate this committee and come up with a plan. So I just want to let you all know that this is something that they want to work on. And if you have any ideas how it can be achieved, please reach out to Mrs. Owen at West North Avenue Developer Authority. Also at the meeting with HDFC, it was brought to my attention, also mentioning to them that the program had an income requirement. There's certain individuals that live in our neighborhood that may be at that income, but they still cannot maintain the property. I was informed that they're changing the policy. So you can go to the office and you can get the application and communicate with them as to your issue. They want to try and work and see how they can fit you in, because the income is preventing people, like the lady in Madison and Brooks Lane, to get her work done. Actually, I've talked to Harlan about some of the issues that was brought to my attention this weekend when I gave her the application. Okay.
Thank you so
Oh,
much.
next thing is this. Just please note that there's been a great interest in Reservoir at the trolley tour. There's a great interest in Mr. North Avenue, the old school, the development that's going on
MBC.
yes, NBC.
Madison Park North.
Right, but they have an issue where people saying that they cannot get no information as to how to apply to get one of the apartments or one of the houses. So you can reach out to that young lady and let her know that there is a great interest.
Okay.
And also that people are aware that do not live in this neighborhood are aware of the train coming through our neighborhood.
Okay.
So it was a conversation that someone had with me about the impact of this tunneling going through our neighborhood. So Reservoir is being noticed throughout the city. Okay. And Jenny, I don't know if she still have plan of having a movie night, because that was something that came out in the presentation that we was presenting. Someone was interested about our movie night. So
cool.
Rolando, has there been an update as to when the groundbreaking or the first apartment / home will come up?
Not to my knowledge, and I think that's just my opinion. The last thing I hear is they had to go back to the city. I don't remember the abbreviation and the name of that committee to present the rendering of the complex, and it was shut down again. So I'm assuming the reason we have not seen the sample home that was supposedly been up since last year is that they haven't approved the design.
Wow.
So they have to work on that design again. That's just my assumption. I'm not, I have no communication with anybody from MCB, but I think that's what it is.
Okay, sounds like we need to invite them to a meeting to update us. Okay, thank you. That's super helpful. And I had a question, actually. Sorry, I know we said we were gonna leave before 8:30, but do you or Brandy know anything about the ending or the sunsetting of the CHAP credits? Because I heard that this was the last year for homeowners to apply for CHAP credits, and I just wanted to know if that was true or not.
I have no knowledge of that,
Okay.
but I can always reach out to Lauren and find out.
Okay. Okay, thank you. I'd appreciate that.
Actually,
That's-
remind me, actually, Lauren should be, we just had a conversation. She should be in the neighborhood this month.
Okay,
Yes, this
great.
month. I think the next week or week after next. So
Okay.
I'll give you that date. So she'll be in the neighborhood.
Thank you. Okay. So with that, I think,
Janae had her hand up.
oh, sorry,
No.
Janae.
Oh, no, that was a thumbs up for something that was said.
Okay.
Thank
Okay.
you.
So with that, I do believe our meeting is adjourned. Thank you for staying on, and we'll see you next month if we don't see you at committee meetings. Thanks for joining. See you.
Thank you.
Thanks.